Good afternoon, everybody. Please confirm you can hear me, confirm you can see me. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
We can hear you.
Good afternoon. I can see. All right. Okay. By the way, I know that we couldn't continue our webinar series last week because of the public holiday. So let me use this opportunity to greet everyone, most especially the Nigerians on the call. Happy Independence Day. So this time last week, we're celebrating our independence. So this week, it's our 7th week. It has been a great 12-week journey. So I would like us to just briefly share what we have learned so far. Some of us who have maybe implemented some of the things we have learned, I would just like us to quickly share me in the chat box, in the chat room. Let's just quickly share some of the things we have learned, some of the things we are adopting, some of the things that are probably in the pipeline that you're looking at, implementing, tailoring it to your culture as HR practitioners. So yes, let us quickly just have that briefly said and shared in the chat room. Welcome. If you are new here, welcome. It's not too late. There is still many more you can learn. If you've been with us, thumbs up. Well done. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for being faithful. And I also want to also readdress that I hope we have all been taking our assessment, as we all know. And for those that are new, for after every call, there is an assessment that is done. There's an assessment that is assigned to all participants and is required for all participants for each session to complete. So completing the assessment comes with a certificate of participation, and it is free. It is free, and it is globally recognized. So, and yes, we have a WhatsApp group chat that we do encourage all our participants to join. And please join the WhatsApp group chat. The link to the group chat will be shared along or during the call. And yes, to be shared during the call. So on the group chat, we share different there are different things communicated, most especially people that probably have issues with that maybe has facing some technical issues with submitting or completing their assessment. Like I said, every session comes with an assessment at the end of the session. So, you can always catch up on others' assessments if you've not completed them. However, please, I encourage every one of us to please join the WhatsApp group chat. The link to the WhatsApp group chat will be communicated in the chat room. And so please, once again, I would just want us to, get to share, share what we have learned so far. So like we all know, this is the 7th week and it is a 12-week journey. Okay, so for today, for this week's webinar, still on the journey of building and evolving our HR strategies. We'll be talking about learning and development with its metrics. And so for today, our speaker, as we can see on the screen, our speaker, Araoluwa Araoluwa is a seasoned HR professional with expertise in training and development, recruitment and talent acquisition, with a passion for driving organizational growth. She excels at identifying top talent and crafting bespoke training programs that meet specific business needs. Our meticulous approach ensures that every detail is a carefully considered, resulting in exceptional client satisfaction. Araoluwa is a seasoned training and development manager with over 5 years of experience. We are very intentional with this webinar series, and you would agree with me that given the topic of this week and the speaker that we have for this week, it is well aligned. And I mean, if you're talking about learning and development, so yes, here you go. So our speaker, yes, is well seasoned and well experienced in this field. And so I will just go further with our introduction. She has proven track record of designing and delivering effective curricula that yields tangible results. She implements a cutting-edge training system at Fedora, Herald, and Partners, featuring automated evaluation and commendation processes, which boosted training effectively. Which boosts training effectiveness and efficiency by a 15%. So Aralu has a keen eye for talent and a commitment to excellence, and dedicated to helping organizations thrive by providing the right people with the right skills. And I strongly believe that she would also give us, provide great insights to various strategies various initiatives to us as HR practitioners, as HR enthusiasts, as HR professionals, to how and where we can adopt and implement them. I think from here, I would want Araoluwa to take it up from here. And yes, we promise that it will be engaging as usual. It will be educative and insightful as usual. So yes, please let's welcome. You can just give a clapping emoji. You can just let's welcome her. Let's give her a warm welcome. Araoluwa, our great speaker for today. Please take the stage.
Thank you so much. Please confirm that you can hear me. Can we hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. Thank you, thank you. Let me turn on my camera real quick. Okay. All right, I don't know if you can see my face yet. I can't. Okay, I can see it now. I can see it now. Thank you. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, E4S Limited. I am very, 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 very excited to be here with us, and I'm sure that we're going to have a great time together. Okay, so my name is Araoluwa, and just as been introduced, these are the things that I've done, but very simply, I'm a very simple person actually, so I know Tolulope can confirm, some of the conversations that we've probably had in the background. But I'm a very simple person, and thank you so much for having me here. All right, so I see Olade Titilayo, Oreoluwa, Akindele, and Matilda, and I also see Moses. Ordinarily, I do like to hear people speak when I'm actually teaching, but If that's not going to be permitted here, that's all right. Okay, so with the few minutes that I have for this morning or this afternoon, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we begin. All right, so share my screen. All right, great. I believe you can see it now. Please let me know if we can see my screen. Yep. Okay, yes, now. All right, please confirm that we can actually see it.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. So I have these slides and I also have my notes. So I'm going to probably be looking through both of them just to ensure that I'm not missing out on any point and I do not forget anything that I intend to let us know this afternoon. Okay, so the topic here is on strategic learning and development, a guide to ISO 3422 and ISO/TS 3043. All right, and what we're going to be going through is very simple, right? It's just a process model, how exactly we are going to measure learning and development matrix, the measurement framework, the kind of matrix that we need to measure, as well as the reporting impact of everything that we're going to do. Okay, so just to start off, this in itself is a metric, and what a metric is a quantifiable measurement, something that can help you track progress. So in this case, we're streamlining to learning and development in itself. As for you being in the HR space, there are different kind of metrics that you can decide to measure based on whatever project or whatever initiatives the HR professionals or the HR department intends to carry out. But in this case now, we're going to streamline to just what kinds of metrics, who would need the data, right, and how exactly to implement such kind of metrics. Okay, so the ISO 30422 right here provides a guidance on a systematic L&D process. All right, so I'm going to combine the process here with another process which I feel is very similar and is also very effective. It gives a guidance on systematic L&D process modeling, ensuring that learning is efficient, effective, and it delivers intended outcome. So this particular model here follows the plan, do, check, and act. That's PDCA act cycle, right? But it's very closely related to what is also referred to as the ADDIE method. That's the analyze, design, develop, implement, as well as evaluate method. All right, so they're both very similar. So if you are thinking about how exactly to evaluate your learning and development strategy or plan or whatever it is, you can make use of this one, or you can also check out what the ADDIE method talks about. So this particular process or this model tells us on how to identify, plan, implement, evaluate, as well as improve. Very simple. Identify, implement, evaluate, and continuously improve. That's what you're doing in this particular model. So what do you do when it comes to planning? You're identifying your L&D needs. And I must emphasize on this particular point, which is identifying the L&D needs. It is not in every case, it is not in every situation that some kind of training is always very necessary, right? So that's why you have to be very cautious about it. That is conducting continuously whenever you feel that, oh, we need some kind of development or we need some kind of improvement. The first thing that you ought to do is really to identify the needs assessment there or the needs analysis there. Why exactly do we need this particular training? Or why exactly do we need this particular initiative? If you do not identify this need in the first instance, if you don't identify why you need this particular thing, at the end of the day, you would realize that you probably must have wasted money or the initiative did not provide you with as much as you would have wanted to, or the effect of it or the outcome of it was not as you would have wanted to. So there is a major importance on identifying this L&D need, first of all, right? And of course, it's mentioned here as L&D need, but whatever it is, it's called a needs assessment. Whenever you can, for whatever initiative you intend to carry out as HR professionals, the first thing that we have to do is to, first of all, find out the why. why do we need this particular thing, which gives us the needs assessment. Then, of course, define who your learners would be, as well as the outcomes, then select the appropriate method after you've already identified your why. Your why would then define to you who your learners should be. That is, who exactly we should be our target audience for this particular training or for this particular initiative, and then define the outcomes. If you do not define the outcomes before you get into it, you might not be able to achieve it, which is why every training ought to have an objective. So as soon as you have an objective, you can then tell what the supposed outcome ought to be. If you do not have it, whatever happens, well, it's just going to be like whatever happens, right? So the first thing that we have to do is identify that outcome. Once we identify the outcome, you can say identify your objectives, which would then tell you your outcomes. And then at the end of the day, when you're saying you want to calculate your ROI on training and development, you can easily connect it to your outcome or to your objectives. And then you select the appropriate method. The appropriate method here could be you want to have it physical or you want to have it virtual, just as we're having right now. Then, of course, the second point there says to implement the L&D, deliver your training, and then monitor the learning processes. They say all these little things, they are very, very key points in everything. It seems very simple as we're saying it, but if you don't address some of these issues or some of these things as they begin to happen, at the end of the day, your L&D, your results will not be the same way you ought to have it, right? So you implement whatever plan it is that you have conducted probably during your L&D and all, deliver the training, right? In this case now, we're already delivering our training. So we suppose that, the first part of the P, right, has already been executed, right? And then monitor the entire learning process. So of course, I was made aware that, this thing has been on for several weeks, right? So after each one of those sessions, there's supposed to be more like an evaluation that should happen, right? Okay, how many people joined? How many people did not join? How many people, if there was a registration, how many people registered versus how many people who actually joined the training? What was the impact level like? I had somebody talking about those taking assessments, right? That's a way to find out the effectiveness of a particular training. Then, of course, evaluate, in this case, it's called C, to evaluate the L&D effectiveness and outcomes, including individual competencies and the L&D process efficiency. So for you to be able to evaluate this thing, is the first thing for you to do is that you already know what the pre is, and then you then find out what the post is. All right, so pre in this case, say for example, individual competence, you already know what kind of competence your people already have in the first instance, and then the post now would be after the training, or after whatever initiative you want to come up with, then you now have another post assessment. So that in itself will now tell you if the training or whatever initiative you put in, if it was actually effective or not. Then we also have here our continuously improving or continuously improve the L&D based on the evaluation results that you have. The reason we have evaluation is very simple. As HR professionals, or generally even as professionals, every time we decide to evaluate anything, the reason is because we want to find out, number one, did we achieve the outcome? Did we achieve the results that we intended to achieve? Number two, should we stop something? Should we start something? Did we notice something which we probably can continue, or which we think is very good, or something that is very bad? All right, and it also gives you data. That's the most important part of it. It helps you make data-driven decisions. And that's what generally metrics help you to do. Every time you decide that you want to measure something, you want to measure the effectiveness of something, you want to assess the effectiveness of a given thing, what you want to do is to derive data from that particular evaluation process. And that's what our act here will do, or our continuous improvement here will do for us. So quickly moving on, please confirm that we're still with me. Please confirm that we're still with me. Just the video thumbs up will do. Thumbs up or something that we're still together.
Yes,
right, thank you. All right, thank you, Tolulope. All right, so my next slide now talks about achieving organizational outcomes. All right, so in achieving organizational outcomes, the first point here, we're talking about strategic alignment, aligning our L&D needs with organizational strategy. What do you have to do? First off, what are the goals of the organization? You got to list those things out. What do we want to achieve as an organization? Because what we want to do here is to align our L&D needs with organizational strategy. So understanding what our business goals are, first of all, that's like the first thing you have to do. And then you can then conduct what we refer to as a skills gap analysis. That is understanding the difference between what you have and then what you need. That's need assessment plus demand assessment or demand analysis, right? So finding out the gap between what exactly we have on ground, because we want to achieve something, right? We want to achieve our organizational strategy. We want to achieve our business goals. So we need to know, okay, so what do we have? Then what do we need? And then how then can we fill the gap in between? That's our gap analysis. Then you can also ensure that, of course, you need to always ensure every time that your stakeholders are always in play here. Your stakeholders must always buy into whatever it is that you're doing. And that's usually, because I know a lot of times I get so many questions in that regard. Oh, Araoluwa, how can you ensure that your management or the management team buys or is in alignment, whatever it is that HR is trying to propose? That's usually like the first major problem for HR professionals. But of course, it also comes with, the answer comes with a lot of data also. So you have to ensure that all your stakeholders are actually buying into what it is that you're trying to propose. You have to be convincing and be convincing enough to provide as much data as would be warranted. Right? We don't give up, we don't cave in. Right? So we have to keep pursuing until we know that this particular thing, which we know that is very beneficial to the company, is actually fulfilled. So ensure that they buy into whatever it is that you want to do. After that, then you set up your SMART goals, set up your SMART objectives, whatever it is that you want to achieve, break them down into smaller goals, achievable goals, things that are easy to understand, comprehend, and of course, achieve. Develop whatever plan you need to develop after that. Be it something in learn and development, since that's what we're talking about. If it's something in learn and development, develop whatever plan you have to for that. And then the most important part, you measure it. Measurement, which is also talking about evaluation. Measure the impact of whatever it is you're doing through evaluation. From there, you get your data, and then you can make possible data-driven decisions. What do you do under measuring contributions? We are evaluating our L&D impacts on both our financial or non-financial outcomes that affect our performance. Hope I'm not too fast. Hope I'm not too fast. I can keep on going like this, but hope I'm not. Am I good? Hope I'm not too fast for you.
It's
fine. Are we good? It's fine. All right. Thank you. All right. So when we talk about, the impact on finances and non-financials, the reason why L&D is even very important to be measured, most times, and this is also something that is the major conversation in the HR space. Sometimes we are not able to measure the ROI, that is the return on investment, for a lot of the initiatives that we do, because it's not as easy as when you say you put finance somewhere and you get back some kind of profit. Sometimes, and a lot of times, the ROI on HR initiatives are usually indirect, that is non-financial. Non-financial could be a reduction in maybe turnover, an increase in retention. Those things are indirect things. And of course, you can monitor them, right? But they're not as easy, or they're not the same as when you say, oh, I put in 10,000 there, I'm going to get 10,500 there, that kind of thing, right? So our non-financial, the effect in this case, or the impact, right, on non-financials could be things as reduction in turnover, increase in employee retention, or you're talking about employee engagement and satisfaction, also talking about skill improvement. Then when you're talking about financial things, you're looking at areas of revenue, you're looking at areas of cost saving or innovation when it comes to spending. How well are we trying to probably cut cost on things that we probably ought not to cut cost on, right? Or how well are we cutting costs in areas where we need to actually cut costs on? I can give us a really practical example. There's one that is coming to my mind really vividly, right? There's a particular supermarket in Lagos now. Those in Lagos will probably have heard about it. All right, it's becoming it's becoming really popular everywhere in Lagos. If it is in Lagos, they would know it. So what they did there was to cut costs as far you get to their stores. If you know the math, you can probably just put it in chat box. You get to their stores and they have prices being reduced, and you're wondering how exactly are these people selling, and your prices are being reduced. But one thing I've noticed is this is by serious observation. They did not tell me. I just entered and I observed. Right, so the one thing I noticed was when you get in, it's not excessively cold. It's just minimally cold, minimally cold. You get in there, they don't have large freezers. They just give everything to you in room temperature. So if you buy drinks, you buy the drinks at room temperature, which means that what the price of light is reducing for them. So they get to do that. Another thing that they did, this one was I asked a question about it. This one, another thing they did was to make their own products, right? So they decided to make their own product for them, so it reduced costs for them. So in such a place now, they are looking at the direct impact of whatever it is, whatever strategies they have based on their finances, right? So you can decide to do that even as HR professionals. Now, I talked about addressing skills gap earlier. What you have to do is find out what exactly it is you have prior, and then also conduct another assessment to find out what you then have post. All right, so you can do that using just a simple Google form or just asking questions. And there's also what we refer to as knowledge management. Knowledge management, that's you building, what's it called now? More like a knowledge bank. Yeah, a knowledge bank of all the things that all the skills in this case now that all your staff members actually have. It might be a lot more complex when it comes to a large organization. It might be simpler for smaller organizations, but then it's not something that is impossible. And then, of course, you boost your capacity, contributing to improve the organizational capacity. We have employee engagement as well as retention. So, in the next part of it, which is the second standard here, that's ISO/TS 30437. Here is providing you us with recommendations on how exactly to measure learning effectively. This is where our ROI comes in. And this is usually the part that becomes difficult for us as HR professionals. Once we're not able to get the ROI on whatever it is we're doing, it becomes harder to pitch our ideas to the management, to ask them that, this thing that we want to do now, we want to do this, we want to do this, we want to do this as the HR department. Now, the first question they will ask you is what are we going to make in return? That's usually like the first question. What's going to be the ROI? What's the benefit of this thing to the organization? And you can't blame them because they are there for the benefit of the organization. So that's usually like the first thing that comes up in the minds of every person in the management team. And of course, you as professionals, so we're also part of the management. So we must know how to convince those who are actually there at the management table. So here now, we're going to look at how exactly we can pitch some of our ideas and tell them, oh, this is going to be the ROI, whether direct ROI or indirect ROIs. So here now, it presents a framework based on 5 categories of users, 4 reasons to measure, and then 3 types of metrics. We're going to be doing it in this order: 5 categories of users, 3 types of metrics, and then reasons to measure. We're going to go in that order. Here now, of course, it's a document, what ISOs are. That's International Startup Organization. So they have something for us definitely at all times. And it's designed for all types and all sizes of organizations, regardless of your prior knowledge of L&D. So we've said 5 types of users. So who are those users? In short, who exactly needs the L&D data? Whatever data you get, whatever thing you want to pitch out, who exactly would be needing those data? Number 1, we have our senior organization leaders. In short, you can call them your management team, right? Those people who are the M of affairs, making decisions, strategic decisions for your businesses, right? They contribute to outcomes, total cost, employee reach. They want data that tells them things like that, particularly cost. That one, they want to even see it. Very importantly, they want to see what's going to cost them and then what they are going to get in return. Then we also have our group or team leaders. We also have our head of training or head of learning, right? We have our program managers, and then we also have learners. Now, some people ask learners, why do they need the data? They need it because whatever initiative you want to do, you want to conduct as HR professionals, please never leave the direct contact of these initiatives out of it, right? You need to always communicate with them. Whatever it is you're doing, whatever the plan is going to be, whatever the outcome is going to be like, keep them abreast of whatever it is that you intend to do. If you see this last part, you might think that, oh, the senior management or the senior organization leaders, they're very important. Yes, they are very important. But you see the last people on this list also, they are super, super important because they are the people that you're going to be connected directly to. They are the ones who will feel the direct impact of whatever it is that you want to do. So what kind of matrix are we going to measure in this particular instance? I wrote a few things down for this, plus examples of matrix that we can actually calculate here. So I'm going to go the other way around. I know we are seeing it as outcome, effectiveness, as well as efficiency. But in this case now, I'm just going to start from efficiency and then go to effectiveness as well as the outcome of this entire thing. So what do we see as efficiency? Here in the slide, we say it measures the productivity, cost effectiveness of L&D, such as total costs, completion rates. In my notes here, I wrote that it enables organizations to assess how efficiently their learning and development initiatives are being effected or are being executed. It sheds more light, just as total cost, right? It sheds more light on resource allocation and utilization. Utilization there becomes number one, the first example of the kind of matrix that you need to conduct, or the kind of matrix that you need to measure, rather. The utilization matrix there, it measures the use of resources. It measures the use of what kind of things you've had to make use of, e.g., our cost per learner. Remember, we're saying total cost completion rate. Our cost per learner, the number of hours that are being used for learning. How many people were assigned to take this particular training? How many hours are they supposed to use for this particular training? So the learning hours per employee, as well as the departmental efficiency. How efficient is this particular thing to the department we're talking about? Whatever thing you want to do. So that's another thing that I found out. Whatever thing you want to do as HR professionals, ensure that it's relevant. Don't just give some random exercise, all in the name of trying to help your people, or all in the name of trying to develop them, teach them, help them to become what you want them to become. No, it has to be relevant. That one is very important, right? Nothing random, nothing out of the blues. Ensure that it's actually relevant to them. Don't go and give what is meant for sales department to HR department. Don't go and give what is meant for HR department to sales department. No, it has to be relevant to each one of the departments. Another kind of matrix that you can measure here is the activity matrix. Activity metric here focuses on the volume of L&D activities, the volume, the quantity of L&D activities. You're looking at the number of courses available, the number of courses being offered here, the number of participants, as well as even our completion rates, which is the second one that was mentioned here. Then you're also looking at cost matrix, where you're tracking the financial aspects of our L&D programs. You're tracking the total cost of ownership. You're tracking the cost per employee, cost per training for each person. How much are you spending per hour to train this one person or to train a group of people? How much is that? You're calculating everything under our efficiency matrix. Quickly moving on to our effectiveness matrix. Here it says it assesses learning quality, including participant satisfaction and application of new skills. Participant satisfaction, application of new skills. In my note here, I read that it's the matrix that is related to learning outcome. It's related to the learning outcome, using it to gauge the effectiveness of training programs, participant satisfaction, right? And what you're doing there, number one, is examining the knowledge and skill that is being acquired from this particular training by participants. You're offering new insights or offering insight into some educational things to them. So for something like this now, very easily, you're looking at number one, what's our reaction? What's the participant's reaction? That's the very basic thing. And how can you know the participant's reaction? Is by observation. It's by observation here. You're looking at how, if it's a physical training, right? You're looking at, okay, during the training, what's their demeanor like? Are they jotting down things? Are they engaging? Are they fully engaged? Are they just partially engaged? Are some people sleeping it out? Or some people are looking at it as a time to just waste time or just while away time. What's their demeanor like? What's their reaction like? Right. You're also looking at the goal owner satisfaction, something referred to as goal owner satisfaction here. That is the satisfaction of those who have vested interest in this particular training. Who do you think would have vested interest in this particular training? Our previous slide tells us who they are. Our senior organization leaders, our group or team leaders, our head of training, our program managers, and even we ourselves, learners. All right. So we have vested interest in it. So one way or the other, you have to find out and know if these people are actually satisfied with what exactly has gone down or not. They're not. Then you have to find a way to actually appease them. Then we also have learning in itself. Learning, you're trying to find out the extent to which participants have acquired new knowledge, new skills, new attitudes, right? So it can come by observation here, right? But then there's also going to be, which is something we'll discuss under outcome, it's a change of attitudinal shift, right? So you're trying to look at how all these things have actually happened, the extent to which participants acquired new knowledge, skills during the training program, which can be assessed through what? Tests or surveys. You can assess those, like I mentioned earlier. I know I heard somebody talking about asking people who, if they've taken their assessment or if they've taken their test, right? That's the way you find out the level of effectiveness of a particular thing. The fourth thing, or the first way in which you can measure this effectiveness matrix would be on application. Very simply, transfer. Right, the extent to which knowledge is being applied in the workforce, right, or amongst the work members. So if they've learned something new that you know that they ought to actually apply into their job, then this is something that you need to look out for. If they're not applying what they've learned, then you know that the learning did not occur. In this case, the learning is not just somebody talking to them. No, it's the ability for them to be able to regurgitate, more like that, regurgitate the thing that they've actually learned. So if you're looking at, or if you conducted a training or something in L&D that refers to, or that you expect that they pick up during the training and then pass it on to their work setting, if that does not happen, then you know that learning did not occur in this particular instance. So we can look at the ability to transfer or our level of application. We're also looking at learning itself, the vested interest of those who are invested or interested in this particular activity, as well as our participants' reaction generally. Then the third metric here, which can be measured, is the outcome metric. Here we say that it measures the L&D impact on business results like cost reduction and job performance. And my note here says it delves into the tangible impacts of learning on an organization's broad business objectives. Right. So we're looking at it. Remember, one of the things we mentioned was aligning strategic alignment, right? Aligning our L&D needs with our business goals or with our business strategies, right? We can see it here in the outcome. So if whatever outcome comes out of it, or whatever effect eventually comes out, if it's not aligning, if it's not matching up to what exactly we want or what exactly we need, then we know that this particular initiative did not achieve the purpose for which it was intended to achieve. It provides a clear picture of how L&D efforts contribute to the achievement of the strategic goals of the organization. So we can break down the kind of metrics that we ought to measure in this case now into two. We can break it down into individual outcomes and that would be and actually, and organizational outcomes. Individual outcomes and organizational outcomes. Under individual outcomes, you are seeing things like change in behavior, change in knowledge. Attitudinal changes, that's where we see change in behavior, right? Or change in perspective, or change in a certain thing. How well, what kind of thinking pattern did they have concerning a certain thing prior to that particular L&D initiative, or prior to the L&D execution, right? What kind of change do you expect to see? You must note it, please. Even if it's something that you feel, okay, it goes beyond your own controlling, right? Because it's not everything you can actually control, particularly when it comes to behavior change or attitude change. But we must try our possible best in this particular regard. Right? So what kind of changes in knowledge are we seeing? We can see that through assessment. So you can conduct some kind of simple tests or a simple assessment to find out if there was indeed some transparency of knowledge. What did they gain? What did they grasp? What are they going to effect? Right? And of course, you can also ask if there are things that they want the company to improve upon or probably do better, or possibly if there are even other areas that they would like the company to touch on, which probably was not touched on in a particular setting. You can also see changes in behavior as well as changes in attitude. For organization, right, that's organizational outcomes. You're seeing things like increased sales or profitability. That's directly to our financial goals of the organization. And then you're also seeing improved productivity. Improved productivity, yes, it's an individual thing, right? But it connects directly to an organizational thing. At the end of the day, when there's increase in productivity, it also increases our finances or profitability as an organization. And then you can also see enhanced employee retention, or reduced level of error or waste, right? So depending on whatever the purpose or the objective of a certain L&D initiative is, you can pinpoint what kind of outcome you want to see, no matter how minute, which is why I mentioned earlier, whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is you want to conduct for your staff members, ensure it's relevant. Right? It has to be something which is actually relevant. And there's something I used to say, that sometimes before you even go ahead to conduct anything for your employees, ask questions. Ask questions from our learners or who the proposed learners would be eventually. Ask them questions, because sometimes we might feel that, oh, they need something. You're looking at it from your own perspective as far you're the HR and they told you to do this, or you want to do this as a department, but you're leaving out the very, very important people who will be directly connected to whatever it is that you do, your learners or your potential learners. Ask them questions. They might have even a better idea as to what they need. Not might, they will definitely have a better idea as to what they need, as opposed to you trying to impose something on them, which eventually you find out that you don't particularly need. Wrapping up, why exactly do we need to measure our L&D? Right? Why do we need to measure the ROIs on everything that we do here? Number one is to justify the investment. Money goes into this, right? No matter what it is, no matter how little, no matter how free you might think it's going to be, money eventually goes into every single thing. So we need to justify our investment, demonstrate the return on investment for learning and development initiatives. Number two, to improve our processes. We use the data. Remember, we said evaluation, right? At the end of the day, we are evaluating something, and that evaluation would give us some kind of data, which would help us to then make data-driven decisions. So we can use those data that we get to improve our processes. We can also use it to make informed decisions, as well as to engage our stakeholders, sharing relevant information with the different users. Remember our 5 users, sharing relevant information to them to gain their buy-in. They must always agree. Always. They must always agree to whatever it is that we have to do or whatever it is that we propose as HR professionals to do that, can be beneficial to the organization. When they do not, agree to whatever it is that we propose, that's when it becomes kind of difficult. Of course, we can't expect 100% yeses every time, but you're doing some kind of work, so they have to agree with you a lot of times. The synergy between these two IOSs that we just checked out, the iOS 30422 tells us the how. It's providing us with a systematic process for designing, delivering effective L&D programs, where we talked about that's the the PDCA, right? That's the planning, the doing, the checking, the acting. And then I aligned it side by side with what we refer to as the ADDIE method, right? And that's where it says the analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate, right? So that's what the first iOS tells us. That's the iOS 30422. And then the iOS TS 30437, it tells us the what that we need to measure, and it tells us the why we need to measure these kinds of things. That would bring me to a point of convenient stopping. If we have questions, please, now would be the time to ask. Thank you so much. Do we have any questions? Should I expect people to unmute themselves or what?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Please, if you have questions, you may want to raise up your hand to speak or drop them in the chat room. Please kindly drop your questions in the chat room. Like I also mentioned earlier, please check the chat room for links to the WhatsApp, to join the WhatsApp group and fill the feedback form. Please, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat room. Please drop your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon. I have a question for Araoluwa. So I wanted to get some recommendation with respect to tools that we can use in this digital age that could help us with respect to this learning and development, and maybe even measuring the metrics to make it easier, not just easier, but to also give accurate data.
Okay, so technically now we have our HRS systems, right? Which, if you want to make a peak, and if it's particularly targeted towards L&D, then you have to look out for HRS that is focused or that talks or embeds in its LMS. That's a learning management system. Right, so the LMS in itself now would help you with measuring all this, a lot of all the things that we actually talked about, even going as far as accepting feedback. Right, so if you want to, you can right now check out for HRS, and whichever HRS you check out for, if it's targeted, if you want to make use of it specifically for learning and development, then you have to look out for the one that talks a lot or features a lot of LMS inside of it. Right, so that LMS, that's a learning management system, now would show you how exactly all these things can do. You can upload your courses in there if you want to. You can have sessions there. You can have people assigned to it. You by yourself, HR practitioners, you can assign people to things, to certain courses, and then see, of course, the level of completion. Those who started it did not finish, those who got to a certain point but did not completed. All right, so you can use the LMS to measure all those kind of things. So that definitely is a easy way out or easy way to go in this digital age and time.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, we have someone in the chat room. Opeyemi is saying that could you help with the ADDI method full meaning? He only got to analyzing the.
Okay. So it's ADDIE, not ADDI. ADDIE, we refer to it as the ADDIE method, just to give it a name. ADDIE method, that's analyze, that's your needs assessment, right? But for short, we just say analyze, design, that's the first D, develop, the second D, implement, this is the I, and then evaluate, that's the last E, or that's the E there, ADDIE method there. ADDIE. Analyze, design, develop, implement, evaluate. Did you get that?
Okay. Yes. 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 He already acknowledged that. Is any other question, everyone? Any other question? Thank you very much, ma'am. It has really, really been insightful. I think everyone can agree with me that learning and development goes beyond you just saying, oh, you want to train your staff or you want to even go on a training. You have to understand what you want. You have to understand the why in the training course. So you have to also identify the needs. So it's not just you putting people on training. You have to know what they need to be trained on, and then yes, you can go ahead with your initiatives and your strategies to L&D for your employees. Thank you very much, Ma. Let me turn on my camera. Okay, thank you very much. It has been really, 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 really insightful. It's good to hear from you again. Okay. So please, if for those of us that didn't join at the beginning of the call, so we are running a 12-week HR webinar series. These are be the 7th week. We've talked about recruitment, hiring metrics, and by the time you have acquired talent into your organization, it's very, very important to train them, develop, and build on the existing talent that you have in your organization. And so, hence, while we are taking this series a step at a time, it's more like a train, and we are taking it in sequence. Let me put it that way. So we also have a WhatsApp group where we encourage all participants to to join. So this WhatsApp group gives you it's more like a community where people share ideas, people communicate. We also have assessments that are taken after each webinar. And after this assessment, I mean, if you pass this assessment, it comes with a certificate that, I mean, it's an advantage to you as an individual, it's an advantage to you as an organization, as an advantage to you for the organization where you work, so to speak. So yes, please, let's check the chat room. Let's check the chat room for the link that we can use to join. Let's check the chat room for the link that we can use to join the WhatsApp group, please. So in the chat room also, we have the feedback form. Please, we want everybody to use, or rather to fill the form. Please, we encourage you. We would also want to get your feedback, as that would also give us insights to what we are doing currently. Let us know our areas for improvement. Let us know where we are doing well. Let us know what we need to do better. You can also use that avenue to also, I mean, if you have some suggestions, you can also, I mean, let that known to us via the feedback from. So next week we have the workforce planning. And so, we all understand that in this career of ours, HR, when keeping employees is like a life cycle. It starts from employing them, keeping them in terms of engaging them, training them, properly planning, properly planning for the future. You have succession planning as part of the areas that we always look at. And so next week, we encourage you to please continue to join us. This is the 7th week, like I said earlier, and it's a 12-week journey. And so that means we have about 5 weeks more to go. So please, this is not the end of the webinar series. Trust me, it is very, very insightful, and we believe that these are practical insights to our daily activities as HR professionals. So please join the WhatsApp group. Join us in the future for more webinar series. Please check the chat room. We have the link shared. The link is shared. Please help fill the feedback form. So yes, I think we have come to an end of today's we've come to an end of today's series, and I know that we are not going back the way we came. So yes, we encourage every one of us to please, this learning phase shouldn't just stay within the core. We encourage every one of us to adopt one or two things in our daily activities as we live and as we learn from today's webinar. Thank you all very much. Please don't forget, join the WhatsApp group. On the WhatsApp group, you would have easier access to us. It's a community, like I said. So for any other question that you may have, the WhatsApp group is there, open for you to share your thoughts, your complaints, and yes, be aware of our future webinar series as we take this 12-week journey. Have a lovely week ahead. Thank you all very much. Thank you.